Welcome back to the Season 3 World Championship, and for SK Telecom T1 and Najin Black Sword, Worlds is on the line. The winner of this game will become the first team to qualify for the Season 3 World Final and a spot on that stage at the Staples Center.
Yeah, there's so much on the line, and in that previous game, it was such a master class and calculated victory from SKT. It was a 22-minute win, and you got to call a horse a horse. They stomped Sword in every single lane and in every single team fight.
They really did win every single lane. We've been looking at that matchup between Faker and Nagne all night, and this is the first time that Nagne didn't get Gragas, and he fell off a little bit. Faker had his best game of the series on that Orianna, you know, even assassinating people with her, finding prey in that bush down bottom. Also got to talk about that bottom lane a little bit because Piglet and Pumandu, they've been performing very well. Everyone was talking about Prey and K coming into this, but remember, you know, Tabe, who's on Royal and is paired up with Uzi, who everyone's considering the best AD carry in the world, was talking about how good Piglet and Pumandu are, so you can't count them out either.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for the games that SKT has won, they've pretty much gone down a pretty predictable path. They've taken away that Renekton, who has been huge throughout the series. Every game Renekton has been picked, he's just been able to come out strong and win. Faker has been going for that Orianna. Both the games they've picked up versus Najin Sword so far, he picked up the Orianna, just had consistent play across the board. So when they have consistent play in both their solo lanes, they just pick safe lanes, Renekton and Orianna, and they can rely on their bot lane to just carry them through. Prey and Kayn are just kind of underperforming a little bit right now, and they're taking advantage of that to the highest degree possible.
So here we go then, Champion Select for game number 5, the final match between these two teams, and we can see Twitch, Gragas again, and Corki taken out by SKT. Currently, Zed and Vi, there's the Fizz as well, taken away from Sword.
So obviously, SKT still concerned about that bottom lane. They feel like if they can get Prey and Kayn kind of on tilt and keep them off of the comfort champions, then they can continue to take advantage of that lane. Meanwhile, they still have to ban out that Gragas from Nagne because he was making game-changing plays.
Yeah, for sure. Twitch and Corki taken away from Prey. I was not very impressed by his Ezreal. He was looking a little bit shaky, so I'm really interested to see what they're going to choose for this game. They take away the Lee Sin immediately. Bengi has been playing every time you give him Lee Sin, they've been able to win the game, so he's just taking that with confidence, looking to make plays.
So the lock-in of the Shen was pretty unexpected from Sword because everyone's been talking about how they've been foregoing that champion and they've sort of left it up. They even left it up for SKT as sort of bait here. But the early top lane lock-in for Expression on that Shen means that now the opportunity is there for Impact to counter it. You know, could he pull out something like a Jax? He does play some carry top laners himself.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Impact can play Jax, he can play Singe. There's a lot on the table that he will choose to pull through. Faker, again, picking up the Orianna, as predicted. They just want a safe mid lane. They know that Nagne does not play Orianna, so they can basically just let that go through rotations. Orianna, really strong pick, and he just picks it up every time. Hovering over the Akali, I would be so happy to see that, but I'm not sure if that's going to be what's going to be picked here.
He could return back to his Ahri that he's so comfortable with. But it looks like they don't want to do that. They're sifting around. It almost feels like he's trying to get ideas. He's looking for inspiration right now. What can I go up against Faker with?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot on the table. We haven't seen much out of him besides for his Gragas. His Ahri play was quite good, but a little bit lackluster in the last game. He's got really anything on the table. We did see SKT pick up that Ezreal. So right now, Prey is put in a little bit of a situation. He may go for that Vayne. We've seen Piglet use that to great success in the past 2 games, so let's see if they're going to try to take that away from them as well.
Now, locking in the Nocturne, that's not a mid lock-in. Oh, they last minute switch it up. Does go with the comfort champion there. Very comfortable on the Ahri, though it's going to be hard going up against Faker's Orianna. I was going to talk about the Nocturne, though. Locking that in from the jungle, that itself puts pressure on mid lane because him diving in with Ahri, that's a very scary gank to try and avoid, even for Orianna. Nocturne coming out at level 6 as soon as he has his ultimate, that's very high kill potential.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in the past 2 games, we've seen SKT take home. They've been able to put Orianna mid and just rely on his consistency to clear waves and just keep Nagne at bay. But in this matchup, we have Nocturne and Shen coming out for Najin's Sword, so they have a lot of global pressure. They have a lot of dive potential. They could even make 3-man plays on the mid lane and try to push down that mid turret. Jax has been locked in, so that is actually Expression's signature counterpick to the Shen, and now we are seeing it actually being used against him. So the student may indeed surpass the master here. We'll see how that goes.
This is almost like throwing down that gauntlet in this matchup. Whenever he come back with the exact same but switch champions, have to see if Expression can actually come out ahead this way too, then he gets huge bragging rights up in that top lane.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm really happy to see the Zyra last pick for SKT. Zyra, Ezreal, really strong lane, and against the team comp of Najin Sword, they have Shen and Nocturne and Ahri, 3 champions that are going to be wanting to dive into your backline and just create as much disruption as possible. And the Zyra just being able to throw out her ult, throw out her E is just going to make that very hard for them. I really dislike playing Nocturne into a Zyra team comp because once you ult into their team, the Zyra just throws her ult behind the Nocturne who's initiating it, and it makes it very, very difficult for the team to follow up on the initiation.
Exactly. This SKT team has so much zone control of the battlefield. It's not only that Zyra Stranglethorns, but also Faker's Orianna ults. He's been able to place those really, really well with Bengi. Using that mobile Lee Sin to precisely place the shockwave means that they can control 2 very, very big areas on this battlefield. And that's perfect against a heavy, heavy dive team. I really like what SKT are doing here with their counter picking.
Well, the fact is, if there's ever a time to do it, I suppose it is in Game 5 of the semi-finals here against a team which, honestly, I think a lot of people tipped. We saw the fan vote coming in from LoLesports.com. 72% of the vote went over towards SKT, and this game has been 50-50 so far.
All of the analysts, I believe, also chose SKT.
Yeah.
So pretty much everybody voting that way here.
Pretty incredible stuff, and we are going to be getting into our final game here in just a couple of seconds. And well, if your friends aren't watching this one, you should definitely tell them to tune in because we're going to find out the first team that's going to be heading to the Staples Center in that World Final, which will be happening next Friday here. So, let's get into it. Boy, it's been a pleasure, as per usual, having you here on the desk, and we hope to see you a little bit later on, maybe for some interviews as we move forward.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, nerds. So here we go then, game number 5. It's all down to this one.
You know, I'm going to be looking at that early jungle pressure, though. Lee Sin has an upper hand on Nocturne in the early skirmishes, especially if Bengi's able to work around the spell shield. If you can actually get by without activating that, then Nocturne's early combat effectiveness is greatly diminished.
So here we go then, we're in game. The winner of this match will be going on to the Staples Center. Who's it going to be? Quick shot, I'm not asking you to predict it just yet because after what we've seen, this could be anyone's.
Well, I'm definitely excited to see how this Nocturne and Caitlyn perform in the matchup because as it stands, this is the first time we've seen both of them in the semi-final series. It's also the first time we're seeing Impact playing Jax. So a lot of new champions in this game. Also Expression, first time on Shen in the series. So definitely trading a lot of champions. And for the first time in a while, we also see another defensive start here. Neither team willing to invade. And after SKT gave up first blood in the previous game, you can understand their hesitation here.
I'm not sure really how this one is going to go down at level 1. I mean, Sword, they've done this pretty much every single game, at least tried to get over there for that ward. This time, we see that one's been put down on the ramp from SKT. Sword spotted that one coming in, and SKT are doing something a little funky of their own.
Ooh, yeah, game 5. They're not looking for the super early invades. It's going to be a delayed blue buff invade from SKT. Again, they're looking to contest. This is jungle versus jungle. Could turn into a smite wars here, as both teams are going to have 4 people around the blue buff if they go for this late invade.
So Nagne has just backed off, which would make this a 4 versus 3. We do see the members of SKT moving up into position. Remember, Pumandu does have that grasping roots available. Blue buff has been started off. You can see Sword are backing away. There's no CC down. They've jumped in on Prey.
This could be very, very dangerous. The blue buff only at half health right now as Bengi gets the vision there. They put the wards down. The blue buff has been taken away here by Bengi.
Interesting choice to use his Sonic Wave and Smite combo on the blue buff instead of trying to land that on Watch and burn a Summoner spell or even go for the first blood. Regardless though, SKT going to come out with both blue buffs here as Impact does his best to solo SKT side.
Another great start to the game here for SKT in the final game of the series. We'll see how the buff control plays into their favor. Impact deciding to recall, gonna heal up and make his way to that top lane. We are gonna see straight matchups. Prey and Kane gonna have to be a little more careful. They've not hit level 2 yet. Piglet does spike to level 2, lands a couple auto attacks down onto Prey and forces them backwards. Level advantage, and that means lane advantage in favor of SK.
3 minutes in. Such a tense start from this one. Bengi getting those double buffs under control. We saw the other blue on their side of the map going over to Impact, who's going to be facing off 1v1 against Expression with Expression's main here. This is going to be a very interesting lane matchup to watch.
Luckily for Expression, he's hit level 3. He's a level ahead of Impact. There is a massive wave here for Impact to farm up, and luckily for Impact, he's got that blue buff. So all of those empowered strikes going to make CSing under the tower all that much easier. You do see Expression backing away. He doesn't have any wards, so got to play a little bit careful if he does stay overextended. Prey and Kane now sitting on this bottom lane. They're keeping up in CS, but once again, they are pushed defensively back to their tower.
And look at this roam from Expression. He's trying to make a play. Because Jax did not go to lane and went for the blue buff, it frees up Expression to push his lane. He's been spotted by Bengi. Can they set up a counter here?
Also very dangerous. The Q going to land there. Expression will shadow dash off into his jungle. Thought we were going to see a little bit more than that one, but again, no risks here in Game 5.
Yeah, we all got very excited for the Ninja action, but nothing came of it. Impact continues to farm up as Expression is going to roam back to the top lane, but keep an eye on that watch. He's trying to make his way towards that top lane. Stopped off with those double golems as Bengi is counter-jungling that Wraith camp.
Here comes the blind monk. Looking for Nocturne. Oh, that golem barely dies before the Sonic Wave comes through, and it could be a 2 versus 2 situation up top.
Wow, actually, Bengi is still up
Oh,
there.
yeah.
He's going to come around the side, puts a ward down. Watch is going to spot his position. Will we see Nagne try and come around for this one? There's a lot of vision down on that top side of Sword's jungle here from SK Telecom as the hook lands down bottom.
Oh, we do see the damage going down. Kane has been rooted in place. They've traded ignites. That's a flash away from Pumandu as Prey has not left Piglet. Continues to smash away from the back line, but Piglet forced to flash and does get away. No first blood secured just yet. As you can see those red health bars tingling on this bottom lane.
They do have the advantage in summoner spells now, as Mandu had to burn his flash to leave a little bit too far up. But if we return to that top lane, what happened, Jax, he really wants to get to that level 6 point, as Warboy was talking about in the first time these two champions went up against each other, and he's almost there. Expression failed to make anything happen from Jax's blue buff start, and he shoved the lane, went for a failed gank, so now it's going to be Jax's show coming back pretty strong.
This is dangerous as well. Bengi just throwing down that pink ward actually had not really been spotted moving into that brush there as Pumandu stands on top of a trap, and still no first blood going down in that bottom lane. Up in the top, Impact and Expression, they're just going to hit a few chunks out of each other.
You can tell that SKT really want to set up Impact to win that matchup too, because look at the deep warding that Bengi was able to do on his invade. He set up so much vision that Impact can play that matchup aggressively once he does hit that level 6 spike.
And the one thing I also want to highlight about those deep wards, because they are dealing with a jungle Nocturne, you need to be aware of where Nocturne is before that paranoia comes in there. So double duty on those very deep wards there from SKT. We do have a momentary pause here in the final game, and you can feel the tension already.
Meanwhile, the double global gank that's going to come from Sword is not going to be focused at that top lane, because Shen's going to be leaving. They want to use the Stand United comboed with the Paranoia from Nocturne to turn around either bottom or mid lane. So that's really where the pressure is going to be on for SKT.
Where do you think, where's the most likely target for that one? Faker, we saw in the last game with Orion, shutting him down at this point would be a massive win for them, but the same can be said about that bottom lane as well.
Exactly. I mean, Ezreal's a little bit mobile, so maybe they'll avoid that bottom lane, but we saw the early flash blown from Mandu, so maybe they target the support.
I also feel like there's a bit more calmness out of the Prey-Kane combo in this lane. We've seen a couple of hooks connecting already, and only the ones that were advantageous for Prey and Kane were actually followed up. And Prey, this time around on Caitlyn, he doesn't have to be in such short range as we've seen with his Ezreal earlier on. He's sitting further back, relying on those headshots and hasn't overcommitted to fights.
Yeah, that's something that they had a real problem with, the fact that they almost looked excited every single time a hook would land. They were like, yeah, go for it. Oh, no, that was bad. And this time it's definitely been a little bit different for them. We'll see, though, how it continues to go. We're only 6 minutes into this one. If you're just joining us, where have you been? Number one. Number two, it's 2-2, and this is the final game of this best-of-5 series. The winners going through to the World Final.
Nagne right now moved himself up to this top lane. Bengi is going to be in position to counter gank. Stand United is available from Expression. And here comes Nagne. They managed to taunt up Impact. Nagne uses Spirit Rush in. Second one to get out as they see Bengi. There's one more proc available. The question is Nagne going to use it? I think it's going to time out in just a second. Decides to back away and Impact survives.
Bengi with some epic timing right there. Able to come in and scare Sword off of that turret dive. Impact really got to thank his jungler right now.
Yeah, jumping straight into the back of those minions as well. Always a helpful sign for the Jacks to push back. And look at this, SKT actually turning things around. They're going to be putting some pressure down onto this top turret. Shen is coming back into the lane, but will they be able to put some damage in there? In fact, SKT decide might not be worth it at this point. Let's just have a trip home.
A great pushing there from Impact and Bengi. This allows, makes it a bit more difficult for Expression to try and freeze that lane up. And we see Watch very close to level 6. This camp should give it to him. That is now Paranoia available as Nagne secures the blue buff. And with that Paranoia up and in range of this bottom lane, Pumandu and Piglet are going to be fairly happy that they are pushed against the tower. However, Watch may want to sneak into the bushes.
Najin Sword really want to gank this bottom lane because of the lack of flash on Zyra. If they just go in with the Paranoia and Stand United and kill him, they can rotate that into a dragon. So right now they're making the call for Shen to shove his lane as fast as possible and then get out of vision of Jax.
Well, Nocturne actually headed onto the top side of the jungle here. They've pinged onto that red buff, and because of the fact that Bengi did pressure them so heavily early on in this one, I think they're a little bit scared of that happening again.
Expression right now doing fairly well in that lane. 7 CS advantage, but he does have that Giant's Belt, so going to survive some of the damage that Double Doran's Impact is dealing.
I feel like that may have been a missed opportunity for Sword to make a very strong early move in this game. But to be said, they didn't have vision of Lee Sin there, so Bengi could have been in position for a counter gank, and they played a little bit on the safe side.
No, gold pretty much bang even. No first blood, no turrets. We're at 8 minutes and 14 to this one. We've not seen an attempt on Dragon up until now. Very passive play, similar to, I guess, the pace of game one in some respects here. Another game in these best of series where you tend to find that a team will play a bit more passively to figure out exactly what their opponents are going to be doing.
And we do see now, once again, these lanes just trading and staying very, very evenly. Najin Sword hanging out, just using Prey and Kane's Dark Passage there to keep Pumandu and Piglet at bay, keep them on the backside. However, if you look towards this top lane, Watch is setting up. He's got Paranoia, and you do see that Impact is in trouble. There's the Paranoia!
They're going in, and Impact is in trouble. He's going to flash away from this one. We'll see if Watch can actually keep a hold of him. He's got that red buff, so Impact is not going anywhere fast here. Flash comes down. Expression picks up the kill, but here comes Nagne. First blood did go over to Expression. There's the start on the Dragon as well.
SKT gonna secure this one without contest here from Najin Sword. The rest of the Sword members sticking in that top lane. We'll see if they want to try focus the tower down.
So they're able to get this dragon, and Najin Sword actually are not pushing on the turret, so that was a pretty big amount of resources spent on a small gank right there. What Watch was trying to do was follow up the flash from Impact with a flash of his own to keep in fear range, but because he was a little bit too slow, it ended up costing Shen his flash, and then also Nagne blew a Spirit Rush there at the end, just for kicks.
I like Faker almost taunting Nagne there as he misses the charm and tries to zone him out of that mid lane. Expression did start to work his way down there, so Faker started to back off. This bottom lane, whilst there's been no kills, there's been a lot of damage exchange, there's been some pretty close moments with the hook from Kane, with those grasping roots from Mandu as well.
Yeah, it is staying very even though Praise decided to go for those Berserker's Greaves as opposed to some early damage. But the one thing that is standing out for me is that Faker has a 30 CS advantage over Nagne. Those roams from Nagne's Ari are just not working out in his favor. You can see Watch hanging out on the sidelines, but he's instantly pinged. So SKT are well aware of his position. they are going to be aware of that ward as well. As you can see, there's a pink from SKT, which it looks like Faker's going to go to clear.
Top lane, still. They've had their fair share of jungle interactions here. Impact, of course, going down for that first blood. He has got double Doran's Blade right now, and the workings of that Phage. And, well, Xpecial just trying to keep him at bay underneath his turret as Watch comes up.
There's no ward in the Tri-Bush here for Impact, and he still does not have his flash up. So if Watch is able to go, I don't know why they're waiting for this.
Well, we'll find out in a second. Watch decides to back away. We did see that in the mid lane, Faker was caught by a charm. We actually seen Faker and Bengi roaming to that bottom lane, but Praying K were able to at least avoid any potential games.
This is also why I thought that Sword were going to focus a lane other than top lane with their Paranoia, because if they gank that top lane, then it opens up for the counter Dragon, and SKT are actually the ones who came out ahead in gold after that.
Faker is just racking up that CS here in mid. It's getting a little bit out of hand at this point. 40 CS close to, and will be here very shortly. Charlie's double Doran's ring boots of speed for Faker on the other side. Nagne coming back into lane here with that needlessly large rod, plus a couple of Doran's rings of his own.
Well, Xpecial still trying to hold on in the top lane. We've seen him trading fairly evenly earlier on, but now that Impact has got a couple more levels, has the ability to slam dunk with that ultimate of his. Every third attack, it is hitting hard. There are some attack pings there onto Faker, so Watch may want to lunge himself into this mid lane with Paranoia, but you can see how defensive Faker's playing. He's not running the risk of being caught out. He's playing very safely, happy to farm up, sitting at 10 CS per minute right now, which is quite literally perfect.
Nagne going to be starting off the blue. Going to get some help here from Watch, who's already thrown that smite down. No one really to challenge there. As in this, I said no one's there to challenge. True Shot Barrage comes across. Meanwhile, in this top lane, things could get interesting. Lee Sin is waiting inside of the brush. Xpecial coming one step closer. Bengi's biding his time.
Well, we'll see if he steps over the edge. As you can see, Bengi does have the ability to kick back. The stun is going to come down. It's going to lock Xpecial in place. They've jumped onto him. The kick goes out after the taunt, and Xpecial gets out thanks to the aid of Bengi's Dragon Rage.
Great little bit of timing right there, and that is going to foil this top lane gank. Now it's open to counter here from Watch as he comes into Paranoia range.
Well, let's see what he can do. He's waiting on that turret right now. Impact less than half health, but he's already hit the recall. And he's going to be getting out of there before Watch can have anything to say in that top lane. And he himself fallen a little bit behind this Shen in terms of the CS, probably just from that kill and the time that he had out the lane.
Nagne once again trying to just even up the CS. He's still 40 behind, 35-40 CS behind Faker. Even though he's got that needlessly large rod, he hasn't necessarily been a kill threat to SKT. We've seen him roaming twice. First gank failed, second time, Impact was dead by time Nagne got there. And he's really going to need to try and find some kills to make up this massive CS deficit. Praying Kane once again in this bottom lane trading damage. Now we see with that BF sword and longsword, Prey's got significantly more on-hit damage, but is less reliant on spells, which is where of course Ezreal is going to excel.
This is one of those games that stays quiet for a good while and then all of a sudden just explodes with action.
Part of that reason is that Bengi over here on Lee Sin does not have a lot of good lanes to go gank. That's also why he's built that Majid's Razor, so he can try and catch up in jungle farm and clear the jungle a bit faster. Because if he goes at any lane that's not Shen's lane, then Shen will join with Stand United, and any gank that he does pull off has the opportunity to be counter ganked from a long distance away by Nocturne.
While we're talking about Nocturne, he's picked himself up the Elder Lizard. So very aggressive itemization there on that one. I also want to quickly remind you guys of how this series has played out. In games games 1 and 3, where Najin Sword were even with SKT, they ended up winning the game. They ended up rotating particularly well and controlling that mid game, and we'll have to see if they can have the same decision making. They are down a Dragon though, which is respawning in 20 seconds, and we'll see who decides to go for it. Watch is once again top lane, so if Impact gets taken out, SKT may just say, hey, we'll happily take Dragon again.
And another thing we should point out that red side so far has been the lucky side for all of these teams. We are going to see Kane landing the hook here on towards Mandu. There's the box. Strangle Thorns come down. Mandu is going to die. It's Kane that picks up the kill.
That's why Thresh has been banned so much against them. Kane making a play,
Now Impact's in trouble. Paranoia goes out. He manages to leap. Fear proc stays in distance, and Watch as well as Expression securing it. Now, Bengi and Faker into the mid lane. We do see Stand United comes down. Here comes Expression. The question is, can they stop anything? The tower's been saved. No kill secured yet. Kane looking for the hook. Not going to connect. Faker still alive. Now Najin's in trouble.
He's got the shockwave still alive, and there is the shockwave coming down, but Faker so very low. Expression dies. Faker still alive. Protect comes in. Kane trying to get the kill. Kane does get the kill. Bengi will bring it back though. And again, as I said, it doesn't ever rain, it pours in these games.
From the beginning there, though, Nagne did not have any more charges on Spirit Rush to get in. Yes, Shen Standing Knight's coming in, but it's just Nagne walking at the two targets. And both of these are very mobile targets. Nagne had Flash, so he could have done something which is flash in with the Shen Standing United still on him, thereby Shen gaining distance as well. But man, with two melees basically going in there right on top of Faker, he gets off a great shockwave and he gets a little bit close so Kane can answer, but Bengi is the one who comes out the real victor there.
And after all of that, SKT secure themselves another dragon as well. We have seen that towers have been traded at 1 apiece, but Global Gold still in favor of SKT. Piglet has had a lot of alone time with this tower and given it a few love taps, which will cause that to be the second tower of the game and a commanding 3,000 gold lead in favor of SK Telecom T1.
And that stat really interesting there as well. First tower, first dragon of every game in this best of 5 has gone over to SKT. They've been able to win games off that twice and lose twice as well. So who knows how this one's going to all work out in the end. There's a hook coming across. Randu just sidesteps it. But there are 3 men now down here. Gonna be 4 in a second as Nagne comes in as well. Faker is also moving around. This could get very explosive in the bot lane as Bengi gonna get charmed.
Well, we do see Praise landing some auto attacks and that pult over. Faker's made his way in from the back line, still holding a massive CS advantage over Nagne's Ari. Nagne's decided to prioritize that Death by Grasp, but still not sitting on any boots, so gonna take him a long time to reposition in any of these lanes.
We also see a very, very big difference in the junglers builds because Watch, again, going with an offensive build, the Spirit of the Elder Lizard extremely quickly, whereas Bengi opting with a completely defensive build here on Lee Sin. Those Merc Treads will reduce the amount that, or the time that he can be charmed in, but Watch is going to have a much bigger damage output. When he went full offense on Aatrox, it didn't work out. Nocturne is a bit of a different story though, because he's a guaranteed dive and he's got the defense of Stand United that he can rely on.
So Blue Buff's going over once again to those mid laners. Faker, who's currently 2-1-1, sat a good 4 TCS in the lead here. Deans is finished. The needlessly large rod suits as well in there. Nagne actually putting down pressure on the turret. DFG even there for him as a hook lands onto Mandu.
Paranoia comes in. You see in the background that Piglet is the focus of Watch. Pumandu still alive in the background. He's going to be the first victim as Watch unable to pick up a kill onto Piglet. Now Stand United coming down as the plants are basically killing prey. But the kill did get secured by Sword, so well played.
Bengi was just getting into position as Lee Sin. He was about to pull off a very nice gank, but Nocturne has the range on him. Nagne another defensive ult.
Yeah, they saw the shockwave coming out there, and Faker just kind of saunters off of this middle lane. He's like, well, you're not going to fight me again. I'm going to put down some damage onto this inner turret. Meanwhile, Impact with a Jax here almost got that Trinity Force stun. Is going to be hammering on the top lane turret. Bengi trying to hold on to this lane. He's going to get hooked. Where's the fear going to send him? Pretty much perfect there. He's down to less than half HP. Can he escape off from this one? Yes! Just about underneath the turret.
Prey had no mana for Ace in the hole, used the 90 caliber net to get in range, and didn't finish off the kill. So they've traded towers as now Expression is moved to this top lane to defend against Impact, shoving the inner top lane turret. Here's a replay of that bottom lane.
So this is a perfect time to go for the hook because the turret's almost down. Just one more hit and they finish it off. A really good play right there too. Keeps him in range for the fear. That 90 caliber net costing him mana to get off a couple more shots, but as you said, no ace in the hole left.
So 20 minutes, 40 seconds into this one. It's a 2.8 thousand gold lead currently for SKT, who have who have lost every single game so far that they've had here on this blue side. So we'll see if this one is the one that changes their fortune a little bit, as Piglet picks up his red buff. Lee Sin actually up by the Baron here with Jax as well. Ward's going down. He's got an Oracle. Needs to be careful though. There's 3 there from Sword.
Yeah, Nagne actually threw out a charm just exploratorily into that bush. Nobody was hanging out, so it didn't work out for him. But once again, Nagne now has his boots, got those Sorcerer Shoes completed, still sitting 60 CS behind Faker. Faker with a Death Cap and an Athene's. That is a very scary Orianna at the 21-minute mark.
SKT are really scary right now. They're definitely ahead, but Sword have a great team for picking people off. If they could gain control of the vision, then they can actually pull a turnaround here. Good charm over the wall, but the turret's already dead.
They got the turret. Piglet got hooked, but Kane, wisely, I think, not following on from that one. Ultimates are available across the board as well. So we could see that fight kicking off. In the end, SKT back away, happy with the turret that they've taken.
Yeah, I think with the exception of Stand United, that was the primary reason not to go in. Expression was still walking into that mid lane and couldn't throw down that massive shield onto Kane or onto Watch if they wanted to dive in for the fight. Sword are still 3,000 gold behind, and they need to find a pick to get some global objectives back in this one. They're falling behind on CS in most, in total. And of course, with those dragons that SKT have had such great control over, Sword are going to have to find a way back in this game. 45 seconds before the dragon respawns, and we'll see who is going to make the first play for that.
That's scary. Jax Thwack is there now with the Trinity Force in there. Twinity Force, that'd be interesting. Headed up towards, again, that inner turret on that top lane as he pushes on straight through. This time it's going to be Prey that comes in to stop him. Piglet's getting as much farm from those golems as he can there. Pretty much the same for Prey up on the top lane as well. We can see that SKT, they've kind of edged into the enemy jungle here. Now that those 2 turrets are down in mid lane, really looking to get control of it.
Right now, Piglet is sitting on the bottom lane, just pushing this one out. He's actually a little bit behind Prey, but as far as items are concerned, he's got a Trinity Force and almost that Bloodthirster completed, so looking very strong right now.
And it falls on Watch to purchase that Oracle. So the Nocturne going to be even more squishy than before. Sword haven't been timing this dragon very well all game long, and even though they have a Vision Ward on it, it's up to SKT again to take it down uncontested.
3 dragons out of 3 for SKT. All perfect records so far. Let's see what they can make of a play from this one though. Blue buff has been kicked off here by Bengi. Nagne's waiting around the side. Jax coming in from the top side as well. Dangerous position here, but Sword to be contested. They're going to have to give that one up. That's a blue buff going over, stolen away by Faker.
The rest of Sword a little bit split up. You actually seen Prey shoving out that mid lane, and Impact was trying to find a way really to, jump into the game. He's sort of playing that linebacker on the left-hand side. Expression now recalling in this bottom lane as the rest of SKT are starting to stack up and definitely making it clear they want this tower. Expression is still sneaking there. He has been caught out.
Perfect.
Here comes the paranoia. They've dove in for a fight. Strangleforce knocks up a few. Expression gets out.
Impact going in from this one. True Shot Barrage comes across the side as well as the kick goes through the team. There's a shockwave ripping them down as well, but they've not got the damage to follow through. Kane super low. Baker still trying to get the ball in position as there is Lee Sin diving in. Sword still alive, but all very low.
They managed to pick up a kill on Pumandu, but Sword lose the tower. SKT will be happy with losing one and grabbing the objective.
Expression got to start that fight out in the bush and have Piglet walk right next to him though. My goodness, it was a really good Stranglethorns by Mandu to stall that one out and force Sword to actually retreat from that fight using the Thresh Lantern, the Dark Passage to pull Expression back to his team.
So, Prey back into farm mode here. Bloodthirster plus that Zeal. He's moving up towards his Static Shiv at this point. Also got a pickaxe in there as well. Other side, Trinity Force, as I said before, for Piglet, plus that Bloodthirster added in there as well.
Yeah, we actually see Expression securing himself a Phage as his third sort of item. He's got that Spectre's Cowl, got that Sunfire Cape completed, but looking to get some damage in there, arguably to try and deal with Impact as well and try to trade with him a little more evenly, because Impact is getting scarier and scarier. Even though he's only got two deaths to his name, finished Trinity Force, finished Cutlass, and a lot of global gold thanks to those towers and dragons.
Baron here cleared out once again by SKT. There's a pink ward there on the front. Faker's going to be taking blue. They've got pink wards in Sword's jungle here as well. They could try and bait them off this.
SKT have been doing a really good job of grouping up by objectives, and they go for the pick on Kane.
Oh, Kane's in trouble. He manages to get the flay down. True Shot Barrage throws across. Now Stand United has been used. Nagne re-engages. A massive shockwave. Throws 3 of them together. The first victim is Watch as the rest of Sword are on the retreat. They're trying to get out. Here comes Impact. He's on to Prey. Prey still alive as the Counter-Strike doesn't land. A good charm. Now Piglet's in trouble. He uses the Arcane Shift forward. He secured another kill as Nagne's on the retreat. Nagne gets out. He manages to pick up 1 before Piglet closes it out. Expression still in trouble.
Still in trouble, and he's the last man up. And this one is Impact going to dive on top of him. There is the ace for SKT. This is at least an inhib here.
That Stand United on top of Nagne was a huge sign on top of his head that said, I'm going to Spirit Rush in towards you guys. And Faker, with a beautiful shockwave, that could be the game-changing play.
They're trying to finish us on a Watch. Just get shredded by the damage. The rest of SKT, they're on to the Nexus turrets. They're on to the Nexus. Ladies and gentlemen, SKT have done it.
This is the victory here. This is the final for SKT.